This pearl oyster, you can see where the ligament is right here, or was. It's a little bit gone now, but there's pieces of it still flaking off. This is the hinge line on the pearl oyster. Not too much on the way of the teeth to hold that together. Same here as in the freshwater mussel. This is one from South America. Not much ligament there, just a very thin line right along here, but no teeth or any detailed structures right here to support this as well. The pecten, the scallop, has a little bit, you can see the ligament right here, just a little bit of it. It has kind of a narrow, thin hinge line there. Not much ligament would be holding that together. This freshwater mussel is so fragile and has such a fine line of ligament, I don't even want to attempt to separate these shells apart from each other. They're not glued, it's just the ligament is dried, but I would break it if I tried to do anything with it. And that also goes for this pen shell. The ligament is all the whole length of this. There's no hinge teeth to speak of, but if I tried to separate this, I would surely break it and shatter it into pieces. Which is why this angel wing shell is actually glued, and I will probably leave it glued for that reason, is because the hinge line is so small and delicate that I would probably risk breaking the shell if I tried to do too much with it. Now, some of the shells, I'll show you this little one here up close. You can see just how amazing these teeth are on this hinge line. And it's just really, this is what they call a nut clam is the common name. It's a very unusual shell, very unusual hinge line there. And I'm glad that one was not glued. Moving on to a cockle shell. This one is very delicate. To separate the valves, you have to be very careful of the little tiny teeth in the hinge line. There's the ligament right there. And when I put this back together, I have to be very, very careful. If I do this wrong, I could risk breaking the shell. So I have to be very, very careful about this. Or not. I will try. If I can't get it, I won't push it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, see how nice and tight that is? This cockle shell is an egg cockle, and I have almost managed to get it put back together, but I think there might be a grain of sand or something in here that's causing this to not go together all the way, so I'll have to check that out and see what the problem is without forcing it. If I force it, I will break it. This little shell has a neat hinge line on it. Not very big ligament, but it has a very prominent tooth right here and the indentation in the other valve that fits together just like that, very, very carefully. Very delicate little shell there. This is another freshwater mussel that has a little bit more of a tooth structure, kind of shallow, but it fits together very nicely, just goes right together, just like that. And, well, it's supposed to. There we go. And there's the ligament right there. You can see the ligament that's left over. Sometimes this does dry and fall out, and you don't always keep it in there. So, and this little clam here, this what they call a channeled duck clam, has not much in the way of hinge line as well. So it just kind of, these will be glued sometimes because there's just not much there holding it together. So I will now show you how to separate valves on shells that have been glued and the ones I have been soaking in water. So we'll hang on for just a second and I'll get to those.